Okay. Let's try that again. All right. All right, now let me get set up. Sorry about that. All right, now turn this down. Okay, so what we're doing is we're going to take one of these Dream Big panels, and you may not know them by name, but I know by this point you guys have all seen them. They're the big flowers, the big dahlias that are from Hoffman California Fabrics. So here's what I've done so far. I've taken a couple of fat quarters, laid them out, pressed them, and I've cut them into 2.5-inch strips, okay? This is going to be for border 1. Alright. Now, let me explain this, and then we'll see as it goes what I'm talking about. Now, this is going to be for border 3, 2.5-inch strips, okay? Now, for the middle border, we're going to make piano keys, and here's how I did this. Excuse me. Let's move Hank out of the way here. Okay, so what I've got is I stacked up different fat quarters that are going to match whatever color panel you're going to do, because these come in a bunch of colors. Okay. Now, I'm going to turn these into strip sets, plain and simple. Alright, so we're going to take and we're going to sew 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, just like that. And I've got 3 of the same exact sets, okay? So I'll just do them all the same. Okay, so we're going to sew those, and then we're going to cut different lengths here, alright? And that'll determine our piano keys, okay? But the very first thing we need to do, we'll set these aside. Let me see. Alright. I'll try to answer your questions. Comments don't always come across on that, on my tablet, but I will try and answer them as we're doing them, and if not, then I will go back and definitely answer them. So, first and foremost, when you get a printed panel, now I have this folded into 4s, okay? This is a digitally printed panel. So it's a white piece of fabric, and it's going through and it's printed just like they're printing paper, okay? So sometimes the image is a little wonky on the fabric. The image itself might be square, but it's going to be placed on the fabric a little, not 100%. So what I've done is I found, with my panel, I found the middle this way and the middle this way, and that's right here. So I've got this folded into a square. Now you can see how far off this is. So I want to trim that up. Okay, and this is going to be with any panel. This is not just from Hoffman. Anytime you see something that looks like it's a perfectly printed 6-inch square, I guarantee you it is probably not. So now what I'm going to do is, because I know my rolled edge, my folded edge, and that edge is straight, I'm going to line them up with the line on my mat, and we're going to square this up real quick. Now, folding it this way, this is all of one side, and that's all my top bottom pieces. This is all my right left pieces. So I'm going to pick I'm going to roll it over to make sure I'm all the way on over here. Now, how big your quilt turns out is going to depend on how you square yours up. Okay? So today I'm going to be showing you the method, and then you take how I'm doing it and do it to get where you're going to turn out the results that you want. Okay, so this is the bias side, or not the bias side, I'm sorry, the, oh heck. This is the actual side, the salvage side, sorry. So this is a little bit straighter, so I'm not going to take quite as much off from the salvage side, but we're still going to come in a little bit. Okay, so we'll get these out of the way. Then we should be fairly straight. Okay, so now we look pretty all right. Not too crazy, maybe a little, but that's all right. So here's what we're working with now, okay? So, we'll lay that out. Now, here's what I mean by the first border. So let's move this out. We are going to put, cutter out of the way. We are going to start with this border here. We're going to run that around our panel. So border 1, okay? Now, I didn't measure. I just started sewing because that's how I am. And I'm just going to put it on there as I go. Now, you may want to measure and you may want to cut your border exactly to size, and that's fine. Do whatever is best for you. That's just not generally my quilting style. So whatever works for you, do that. Now, I will say, doing it the way I'm doing it, you need to be very confident that you're not stretching this, okay? Because you want your inside borders, you want your first border, well, all of them really, but you want them to be the same size as what you're attaching them to. Okay, so as I'm working, I'm letting the machine pull my fabric through. I'm going to try not to hang it up, and I'm going to try not to stretch it, because that is where you get waves in your border. And you're like, man, why won't that lay straight? Well, because you've stretched your border somehow. So, I'm going to take on my Juki here. Love this guy. I'm going to take a couple of little, hold me stitches and then line it up. And if you've done a good job cutting, everything ought to lay pretty straight. Now I need to take this knob I'm turning is called a micro lifter. And I had it set up a little bit because it helps you sew over thick fabric. It kind of takes your presser foot and just picks up the front of it a little bit, so when you're going over heavy fabric, it'll go over it instead of hang up. But I need that all the way down for what we're doing. So as you see, just don't bunch anything. And I didn't get too silly about all these pieces I put together. Just finger press the seams. So when I quilt for fun. I am not a fussy quilter. You'll realize that if you follow some of my projects. My technique may not always be the best technique, but it's what works for me, and you can try it my way, and maybe it'll work for you, but if it doesn't work for you, then that's fine. There's 100 ways to get where we're going. So, all I did now, we've got this sewn. We're just going to give it a little gentle finger press. I've got my iron hot, but you know, we can just finger press it. This is pretty kind of stiff fabric. When I was pressing it, I went ahead and starched it just to get some of the folds out of it. So I'm pulling it apart a little bit and I'm running my fingers. Just a simple finger press. Now when I'm doing this, whatever I do to the right, I like to do to the left. Whatever I do to the top, then I do it to the bottom. That's generally how I do my borders. Let's see. Hey Becky, hey Angela. Oh man, Stephanie, I know I was hoping I could watch the launch myself, but I didn't realize I was planning my event at the same time SpaceX was going to launch the rocket, because that should have been done last weekend. Alright. Nice thing is if you have to go and come back, you can always watch the replay. Alright, so same thing. Like I said, this doesn't take long. It looks really nice, but it's not a whole lot to do to get to where we need it to be. I tried having some of this done ahead of time, but my 4-year-old decided to have an icky belly last night, and I didn't get to the studio ahead of time. There we go. Okay, so same thing. We're just going to press this open and now we'll do the other sides. Alright, so set these aside. We'll add a couple, just like you're doing a jelly roll race. Put them together and make your strips. Now these are 2.5 inches wide by I don't know, I'd say maybe about 18 or so. And that'll depend too on how straight your fat quarters are. Because as we know, fat quarters are supposed to be around 18 by 21, 22, but they're not always. So you just have to trim them and then see where you're at. Like I said, I don't generally measure. I just kind of go with it, and it generally works out. All right. Kind of keeps cutting the salvage edge off. So I've been able to put Alright, I've been able to put more stitches on old Hank here, and I must say I'm really enjoying this new machine. And I kind of thought, you know, I've got a TL2000 by Juki, and I thought, why? I really don't need another straight stitch machine. What am I going to gain? But man, this little machine here has kind of been night and day. Kind of like big brother, little brother. This thing sews a lot smoother. It's a little quicker, I think. It's got a couple little bells and whistles on it, like the extra tensioners and the little micro lifter that adjusts your presser foot. So I'm really enjoying it. I've been a big fan of Juki. It was one of my first big machine purchases. I had a Singer forever, and I wanted something that could handle the amount of sewing I do. Now here, I'm just eyeballing this, okay? You want to lay it on your cutting mat and square it up proper, you go right ahead. Okay, so now we're doing top and bottom. All right. So if you're ever looking at a machine, this is obviously for the newer quilters. You seasoned quilters are already going to know this, but we like to inform the new guys too. If you're ever looking at a machine and you're wondering why is stitches per minute so important, because whenever you're sewing long straightaways, that will determine how long that long straightaway is going to take you to sew. The more stitches your machine can pump out, the quicker you're going to get to the end, obviously. But you don't think about that when you're buying a machine and you're only thinking about doing tiny little piecing. You know, sometimes it's not just tiny little blocks. Sometimes you're sewing long strips. Go. Really like that color combination. It really brightens that up. Okay, so now we need this last end, and then we'll put together our piano keys, and I'll show you, you know, this is fairly simple. I mean, there's nothing to it. Now, the one in the picture I showed, it really matches. I was really able to get some really good fat quarters to match that more dark purple panel. And if you can do that, then it really makes it look like you know, that panel is extended. Here we're going to go a little bit more obvious, and we're going to throw a splash of color. Now remember, since I didn't measure this, I'm just making sure nothing's bunching, nothing's hung up, and it can freely feed through this machine. I'm getting a little crooked, but that's all right. Okay, so we're done with the border number 1. All right. Oh, I ran off the road here. Let me go back and hit this part right here. All right. So here's where we're at. Okay, we've got a nice border. Border one. Now, I'm just going to fold this kind of in a somewhat of a square because I don't want to just throw it and get it all crazy. Now, so now all we're doing is I've taken these, made these 5 inches. All right. We're just going to sew them on together. And whatever order you want to throw them in, that's up to you. Okay? Whatever strikes your eye. Because these are going to be kind of random anyway. We're about to cut this up and you'll see what I mean. This will be a continuous strip. See, so this goes fairly quick. Not too terribly. Now I've got my iron over here hot. So we're going to press this. Just up. Two there. Way off. Alright, well we didn't line that one up, did we? No big deal. Let's try it again. I'll take it from this side. There we go. And you know what? I am going to throw this dark over here. There you go. So when you do these, they don't have to be in the same order. You know, you can make your piano borders however you like. I'm going to try to spread the light and the dark out just a little bit. But once we cut them up, it's not gonna, it's just gonna be one piece of a long chain anyway. Okay. So sewing your strips will be not the most time consuming, but it's really not that bad. Do this guy. And last piece here. Okay, so here's my two sets that I have. That one there, and this one here. And I'm going to go ahead and join them, because you'll see in a minute it'll make cutting a little bit easier to do this. Okay. So we're going to spin him out of the way. And we'll get, I'm pressing that. Give this a quick press. And that way this lays nice and flat so I can cut it. Now, you want to make sure your mat is not under your pressing pad, because it will, the steam will mess it up. Now, I'm kind of going a little quick. I'm just giving it a little bit of tension, pulling, so I can pop them seams open. And then we'll spin it around, do the same thing. Now, if you're a stickler, this is where you can go and you can make sure all the seams are laying in the right direction and all that jazz. Hey, if that's how you do it, more power to you. On a simple project like this, I'm not too worried about if my seams are nesting or lying all in one direction. I just want them to be flat and open at this point. Okay, so we're pretty good there. All right. So we might be alright with what we got. I may not need to add that other one. So now I'm just going to fold. I folded it in half. And I folded it in half again. And we're going to cut our strips now. So this is where they become the piano keys, because now we're going to cut them. We're going to determine how wide this is now. Okay. Now, if you're not comfortable, you don't have to fold it up a bunch. You can just run it straight. However you want to do it. But I'm going to take it and go like this. And you can see, not everything's exactly perfect. That's alright. I ain't worried about that. That's why we're squaring things up first. So 5. Come over like so. Grab my cutter. Now I got a good cut that I know straight. Now I'll go ahead and follow this up. I'm going to take my straight cut and keep it lined up. Okay. So I think what we'll do is we got from 3, so we got 17. So if I did 4, 4 inches, 7, and 11. Again at 15, and then again at 19. Okay, so there we go. Now we got our piano keyboarders. Okay, these are nice long strips. Fold it out. And there you are. Okay, so we are going to take these and join them. And now, like I said, if you're one that wants to measure and everything be exactly just so, that's fine. That is not my style. Especially on borders, I kind of like the randomness of it. Okay. So I'm going to connect these. And we'll get them slapped on this panel. Weather is so beautiful. I think I'm going to grill out something when I'm done. Probably sit on the porch and have some sort of beverage. I'm not sure yet. So if any of you followed the giveaway we did, we gave away a bundle of glide thread thanks to Juki Junkies, which is what this is here. This is glide, but we gave away some smaller spools, 5 of them, to 2 different winners. And to be honest, I forgot their names offhand. But if any of you guys were interested in those, the new bundles were just released, and you can go to JukiJunkies.com to check them out. They come out with a new color set every month, and you can do the 5 or you can do the 10. And 2, 3, 4. This was last month's, so it was very blue, very pretty. This month is got some color to it. Okay, so let's get back to this. Now, I'm just going to take this, same thing. We're going to start in the corner. And I'm going to put my long border down here to where it can flow easy. Just my chair. All right. So I kind of like this bright initial border, gives it a nice pop in the center. And then when I bind this, I'll probably bind it with something, you know, that's a nice, bright, kind of contrasty but bright color. But the way I do this, I try to make the big border, this big fat piano key border, keep the colors kind of matching somewhat close to the panel that you're using. This side. So I'm going to head over to the other side. Do the same thing, but I caught a little piece where I ran off the road again. So I'll fix this real quick. There you go. Voila, problem solved. See, that's what you don't see a lot of times on some of the other sewing things, whether it be online or on TV. I don't mind showing my mistakes, okay, because I don't want a new quilter to keep hearing just how super simple this is, and this is so easy, and then if they're at home trying it, and they're not able to 100% nail it, then they're like, what the heck? This is supposed to be so simple and I can't even do this. But in reality, everyone else is making mistakes too. Nobody shows those though. Well, I do. I don't mind showing my mistakes because then I also show how we fix those mistakes. And that's the best part of learning. You make a mistake, you figure out how not to do it again. Alright. We're almost 2 times around. if I run out and I can't make it all the way around the other way, then we will sew that last set and add it. Which that may end up being the case. Maybe not, I don't know. That's part of the excitement of quilting how I quilt. You don't know till it happens. Alright, so we'll trim this up. And now we're going down the other side. So, this comes together fairly quickly. I wanted to have some of this done ahead of time, but it's alright. You guys will be able to see that even start to finish, this is not a long process. I think we're going to be good, you guys. I think that will work. Okay. It's definitely a lot brighter than that other one I did. In here where this needs to be fixed. Alright. Now before I stopped right here, I did a couple back stitches just to secure that. And then we'll carry on. Alright, so that was just about perfect. A couple little extra pieces. There we go. Now, some people ask me how come I'm not doing back stitching at the end of, you know, rows like this, and it's because I'm going to be sewing across them. So when I'm ending a row, I don't back stitch because I'm going to be sewing across them, which is going to tie them in. You can back stitch everything you piece, but I just don't particularly do that. But now I've got to go back and fix some of these little spots here, man. I don't know what my deal is today. I'm not keeping my stuff straight. So as you can see, we're building out. It's coming along. It's looking good. Okay. Now, you're going to finish it off with this border here. It's going to be nice and easy. It's the same thing. A couple of 2.5-inch strips that we cut. Now, if you don't want to cut, or you've got a jelly roll that you like, these little simple borders are perfect for jelly rolls. But if you're like I am and you hit up Joann's when they're having a crazy cheap fat quarter sale, I've got a bunch of fat quarters on the shelf. So I did it that way. Now again, I'll just keep adding these pieces and we'll go around. With them being kind of long, it don't take many to do. Just want to make sure you're not sewing your selvage on to where you'll be able to see it. Having the thread cutter on this machine really makes it nice. I can also use it on the pedal, but I just seem to prefer it up on the machine itself. So if you are in the market for a machine, check out Juki Junkies. I have totally fallen in love with Juki, the machine itself, and Carmen over at Juki Junkies will give you some awesome service, and she's been pretty awesome to work with. Very bubbly, very happy, always willing to help. So that is why we kind of partnered. I partnered with her because anybody that I work with, I want to make sure it's somebody that I wouldn't mind, that I wouldn't mind going to. I don't want to send you guys somewhere that I don't actually like. I don't want to tell you guys to use a product or service that I myself don't actually like or haven't actually used. So if you ever hear me recommend something, it's because I've got personal experience with whatever I'm recommending. And if someone gives me something to say, hey, try this out, tell your group about it. I always tell them I'll try it, but if it's junk, I'm going to say it's junk. I don't want to waste my money. I don't want y'all wasting your money. But if it's good, I'll let you know it's good. So far, this Juki has been stinking awesome. Alright, so last go around, and then we'll get this bad boy, tack him up on the bottom. So you can take this same method, simple. You can take the same panel and make a bunch of different looking quilts out of it, all by just changing up what you do with these borders. The closer you can match this bigger border to your panel, like I did in the purple one, then it'll make that panel look like it's way bigger. Now here, it's obvious that it's a piano key border, you know, so the panel looks like it stopped where it did. But with these panels, if you have batiks that match, this is a perfect project for batiks. And I've got some pretty blue batiks, but they're in the middle of being used for another project, and you can see part of that project behind me. Well, until it just fell. Alright, now we're good. Now we're good. Man, what is my deal today? I guess because I'm trying to hurry, so it's not taking so long. So when you make yours, take your time. Well, you don't keep mowing off the edge. Okay. So we'll pop this side. I guess I'll check and make sure I'm lined up. Before I get zipping along. We are almost there, y'all. Alright, so last side, and then we're going to call it done. And you could do another round of piano keys or another round of solids. Whatever you wanted to do to expand this out, but this is just going to be like a nice Something simple to use to stay warm on the couch. Not bad for guessing. All right. And there we are. So, well, we're not, because son of a gun. Alright. Getting in too big of a hurry. We'll have to go back and pick that out and fix that. All right. So let's take a look at what we have done. All right. So, there we have it. All right. That's what we ended up with. Not bad. All right. Now we could go and add another border, maybe another dark or something like that. But I like it. I think that's pretty nice and simple. So, all right. Well, let me do it this way. There you go. All right, so that's it. Pretty simple. Just a quick little panel. That's from Hoffman Fabrics. It's called a Dream Big panel. All it took was a couple of fat quarters. Let's see, 1, 2, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15, I don't know. Just depends on how big you want to make it and how many variations of fabric that you want to put in there. So you can do it how I did it, but how it turns out will depend on you. Just make it your own. So there it is. Nice and simple. Pretty. That's plenty big enough for to cover up with on the couch. A little more masculine than the other one I did with purple. So there we go. So thank you guys so much for watching and stopping in. And man, I guess it's a little hot in here. Anyway, so thanks for stopping in and hanging out. Thanks for quilting with me. And tell someone you love them, smile at them, be nice. We got a ton of crap going on right now. You know, just be kind to one another. Anyway, I love you guys and have a good day. And I'm going to finish this. I may add a couple more rows to it. I don't know yet. We'll see. But after I get it pressed and all that jazz, then I'll post a picture of it finished. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Bye.